Come on, Bitsy.
Ready?
I'll give you a 3, 2, 1 countdown. I know you said ready.
Good evening and welcome back to Crypto Warehouse. My name is Mike. I am with Brogan today and we have a very special expert talks session. We have Samai from XReg, which is a company that helps you get your business regulation approved. So we're very excited to have Samai. We're going to go through a list of questions that we have prepared for her. We're going to go through a bit of her history as well as the history of her company. We're going to go through the jurisdiction that she's in, which is Gibraltar, some general macro questions about crypto. And then we're going to finish with some questions from you guys. We're going to have an audience Q&A. Now, as part of the show, we're going to have a PEPE giveaway. Now, to enter the PEPE giveaway, it is very simple. You simply go over to our YouTube channel, which is Crypto Warehouse, and type your name, enter into chat, and Brogan will collate them. And at the end of the show, we will do the giveaway.
Yep. Well, we've got her on the line now. So what we're going to do, we're going to leave the screen up. I'm going to say hello to her. We're going to make sure the screen's good, and we're going to go into the AMA. So if you give us a minute, we're just going to be...
I've got to finish the PEPE thing.
Oh, big on it.
Okay. So if you want to enter the PEPE giveaway, as well as putting your name in, what we would also like you to do is put any questions that you have for Samai in the chat. So if you've got questions about regulation, if you've got questions about anything to do with crypto regulation, ask. And I know most of you will have questions as we're going through the Q&A. So feel free to ask them as we go throughout the show. And now Brogan hopefully is going to bring Samai onto the stream and we can start.
In a second. So we'll leave the screen on for a tiny bit. I'm just going to make sure, everything looks good and whatnot. Okay. We're going to go into it. So give me a moment. So we're going to add it to the call now. Hello, we're just going to make sure it looks good and then we're going to actually go into it. So give me one moment.
He is.
Let me 1 second. All right. All right, I think it's looking all right now. Let me just make sure it's cropped properly.
Let me know when we're ready to go in. And then we will... You're going to introduce Samai?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I think we're looking good. So I'm going to bring it up now. So this is... There we go. Okay, so hello, Samai. Welcome to the AMA. So for everyone watching, this is Samai. She is part of the XReg community, not Reg.
XReg company,
community.
yes.
And yeah, I mean, I guess I don't want to, take it away. I think you should just introduce yourself. This is the first question. Who are you? Can you introduce yourself to everybody watching now?
About Crypto Warehouse. So yeah, I'm a qualified barrister. I've been a qualified barrister since 2013. And for over 9 years, I've dedicated my career to financial services regulations. And much of my experience was shaped from my time at the regulator, where I spent about 7 years contributing to the regulatory landscape. I was a regulator with my own portfolio of firms to ensure compliance with regulatory standards. But then later on, I transitioned to the policy team, where I had the privilege of collaborating with government-appointed drafters and working on Gibraltar's legislative reform program, which is basically the largest financial services legislative reform program in Gibraltar's history. We basically amended, reformed anything related to financial services law in Gibraltar, and it took approximately 4 to 5 years of my life.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and once the program was over, then naturally I moved on to becoming the legal advisor for the FSC, advising on the law relating to financial services here in GIB. And then that was what I was doing before I joined XReg Consulting as head of operations and legal. XReg Consulting is basically a regulatory consultancy firm specializing in financial regulation with a particular focus on crypto assets, which is rapidly evolving. I mean, you know that. I don't need to tell you that.
Yeah.
And I'm basically just responsible for in-house legal advice there, overseeing operational aspects of the business. But the thing that I really find interesting is also providing consultancy services in the public sector. So assisting governments and regulators implementing a legal framework to regulate crypto. Policy and legislative reform is pretty much my thing.
Okay, very good. I've got a raft of questions, but I've got to be very mindful of the time that we've got. Just very quickly then, before we ask you about XReg, what was your experience of crypto before you moved out of the government position? Had you had much involvement in crypto before you made the switch?
So in terms of involvement, it depends. So in terms of legislative involvement, part of the reform included creating the distributed ledger technology provider regime, which Gibraltar was actually the first country in the world to do that in 2018. It pretty much attracted quite a lot of crypto business and it put us on the map. So that formed part of the LRP. But in terms of as an investor, I was always how do I say, I was never bullish about it, because the concept is really speculative, right? Especially as a regulator and as a lawyer, and looking at how to regulate it and looking at it as a concept. I was involved in that way, like analyzing it. But in terms of trusting it and putting my money in it, and I was very skeptical.
No, I mean, to be honest, I would say only really in the last 2 or 3 years has it become an industry which, in my opinion, it should be taken seriously. So 5, 6, 7 years ago, I wouldn't really recommend anybody invest in crypto or have any assets. So I understand totally where you're coming from.
Although some of those people are laughing now.
They are. I know. Right. So before we move on, we've got a question about XReg.
Yeah. So the kind of structure is obviously, for people watching, there's the menu on the right hand side is kind of the breakdown of what we're going through each section of what related to the questions. So obviously, I know in your intro you kind of gave a bit about XReg, but is there anything, like, if you want to really go in depth with XReg? So the next question probably would be, or for me anyway, was what is XReg? Generally.
Yeah. So yeah, like I mentioned, it's a regulatory consultancy firm, and basically we do an array of things. And I think the really unique selling point about XReg is that pretty much most of the consultants aren't just practitioners like lawyers, qualified accountants, AML, CFT qualified personnel, but they're also, many of them are just as much regulators coming from a regulatory perspective. And I think that's a really unique selling point for a consultant to give, because you normally get practitioners becoming consultants, whereas here you've got practitioners and people on the regulatory side also becoming consultants. And basically what we do is we serve private clients as well as governments and regulatory authorities, and we try and bridge the gap between crypto businesses and regulatory authorities. So we leverage our team's expertise, and we try and help clients understand and comply with regulatory requirements. Our goal is basically to facilitate the adoption of crypto assets by providing clear guidance and pragmatic solutions.
Yeah. No, I mean, I obviously, when we did our research, we went through your website, so we know the history of, you've got people like Sean working there, who I've known, not personally, but I've known of for the last 3 or 4 years from their work in the government as well. There's a few other people on there that I recognize the names on. So there's a well-established team within your company. I'm going to ask a cheeky question now. Have you got any clients that you're allowed to mention that have gone through your regulatory process and are now have their DLT licenses? Is there anybody that you're allowed to mention? If not, we can move on.
So I do have to prioritize client confidentiality, and I did think it was a nice try. So I can't really mention many of our clients, but what I can say though is that we've worked in the past with a diverse range of businesses within the crypto space, including at one point 3 of the top 5 exchanges. And I can say that we've been able to assist a lot of people get licenses, actually not just in Gibraltar, but we actually have many international clients, and we've managed to get them DARE licenses in the Bahamas, license in the Cayman Islands. And we're trying to sort of tap into the Middle East market as well. And I can mention one client that we're particularly working with because it is in the public domain. And that is actually the Capital Markets Authority in Oman. We're helping them implement a legislative framework for VASPs and issuers. And that's quite an interesting project.
Okay.
Wow.
Well, I'm sorry for putting you on the spot, but I had to ask.
Okay.
It wouldn't be an AMA if I didn't ask.
No worries, I'm used to it.
Now, one of the things we talk about here is there's two things that we want we want to see in crypto, and one is adoption, and that's adoption of retail in terms of using the tools that crypto can bring to people, and the second one is regulation. And I know we're going off script here, but one of the things that I try and tell people is regulation is not the enemy of the state, if you like. It's not the enemy of crypto companies. And I think America has given maybe regulation a bad name. But from your point of view, Gibraltar is a very open and very accepting jurisdiction. And I take it you've found that kind of evidence when you've been dealing with your clients and dealing with the government of Gibraltar as well.
Absolutely. Well, it's interesting that you use the US as a comparison, because they are very much at the moment. I mean, it does seem like it's regulation by enforcement. And actually, there was an article that one of my partners recently published, and he said that kind of approach is almost like building a house without a blueprint. Which I really quite liked that kind of analogy. But I have seen many countries taking away from the US, like Gibraltar, like the Caribbean, who are actually very friendly and inviting to the idea of crypto. And that's why their approach is completely different in terms of, you look at their regimes and it's principle based. They've done something that's bespoke. They've actually put something that's clear for crypto firms to say, okay, well, this applies to me and how can I comply? And then you've got obviously other considerations like fees and taxes and all that kind of stuff. Whereas the US, for example, it's still not clear how their laws apply to crypto firms. So they're pretty much at the minute sort of like, what am I doing? What's going to happen to me if I do this in the US? So
Exactly.
There's a lot of companies being made examples of. I think a lot of their methodology is letting them go off in the wild and kind of make their products and then kind of stinging them when they make a mistake. Even though it's like going through a maze blindfolded. They don't really know what they're doing until it hits them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really
and
good
also
analogy.
the dangerous thing though, if trying to create a framework as well, I mean, you could go the other way, but even the other way isn't. You've got to strike the balance, because you shouldn't over-regulate something either. I don't believe in over-regulation, because you need to let innovation sort of thrive, right? So it's hitting that sweet spot and working with people who are aware of that.
Yeah, no, I mean, we totally agree. At the minute, there's an issue at the minute with Ethereum. Is it a commodity? Is it a security in America? Which they'd have thought of the answer to that 4 years ago. But, I understand you've got to have regulation to make sure that companies toe the line, but then you need to give them the freedom to actually express their business in your jurisdiction. So I totally understand where you're coming from with that. What I'm gonna stop leaving the script. Brogan's in charge of the question, so I'll pass it back to Brogan.
Okay, well, in that question, obviously I know you went a bit off script, but I feel like we did touch upon like one of the first parts of this next section, which was based in Gibraltar. How well do you think Gibraltar ranks in terms of the crypto regulation in terms of its status? I know obviously we kind of touched upon it, talking about America and in comparison to Gibraltar, but
well, it's actually an interesting question, because I think it depends on when you've got to look at it, the global landscape, right? So obviously in comparison to US, it would rank differently. And I think back in 2018, I think Gibraltar would say ranked quite highly because of its competitive edge by introducing the DLT regime. But now a lot of countries, they're starting to follow suit. They're starting to implement their own regimes to comply with FATF's international standards. They're trying to make their own. I mean, we see it in the Middle East, for example, with Oman that we're working with. They're trying to put in a framework to foster innovation, to grow the crypto space, because they believe that can grow their economy. And so I think now it's much more competitive than what it was. So in terms of Gibraltar, I think that they're definitely losing their competitive edge. So it's to stay in the game, I think they're going to have to look at their approach and maybe sort of try and build on that at the moment, because you look at the EU and MiCA, for example, they're bringing in their own regime as well. And the EU gives you passporting rights. I mean, that's huge for a firm that wants to set up shop in the EU, because you set up business in one member state and then you can provide services in multiple member states. And that's a very big thing. So you've got to think of it from a client perspective. When they're looking at a country, they're looking at, okay, well, do they have a regime? Is it a regime I can comply with? Is it a fair regime? Can I speak to the regulator? Are they easy and approachable? Are they friendly? Do they like crypto businesses? But then can I afford to set up there? What are the taxes? How long is it going to take me to set up shop? Is it going to be like forever to get a license? Is it going to be quick, 3 months? So I think that's a lot of things that need to be considered. And I think it's something that SHIB, I think, definitely needs to constantly be building on, because this is an ever evolving industry, and now countries are definitely sort of catching up. So in terms of ranking, I think that then maybe not ranking as high as they did in 2018. They're still good in the sense that I like their flexible, principle-based regime, and the regulator is very approachable, and it's very easy to sort of get in contact with them because we're a small country. But they still need to sort of continue developing to compete with the EU, for example, and maybe the Caribbean, which is up and coming as well as a flexible jurisdiction.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. When we were covering this back in about 2017, I think I could have picked on one hand the number of jurisdictions that you could look at. One of them, of course, was Gibraltar, and I think Switzerland was in there at the time as well. But Gibraltar for me was the number one jurisdiction for the fact that Gibraltar's got the history of the insurance companies are here, the gaming companies are here, they've got a history of regulation. So everything, all the ducks were lined up for Gibraltar. And I think because you've got Dubai and you've got the EU and you've got the UK now moving in, Rishi Sunak, much maligned, but he is a big fan of crypto, and he wants to, he's bringing, I'm trying to think of A16Z, is it? I think they're called, one of the big American investment houses, opening an office in London as well. I know another one of Binance's competitors is opening an office in London as well. So I think it's going to be difficult until Gibraltar finds a niche. Maybe there's a certain niche that Gibraltar could attract a certain type of crypto asset or a certain type of crypto business to Gibraltar. Then maybe it will find its place in the world. But it's up against financial powerhouses at the minute, in obviously, in my opinion. But you're right. I think Gibraltar was ranked probably in the top 3 a few years ago, and now it's, like you say, now it's starting to fall down the rankings a little bit. I'm not going to keep interrupting Brogan though.
That's right.
Sorry.
Well, that it did. Our conversation did diverge into the future of what needs to be done in terms of keeping highly in terms of the regulation in Gibraltar. So the question is pretty relative to that: is where do you see the regulation, with your regulator developing over the next 5 years? Let's say.
Yeah, I mean, we've always really respected the regulator, and obviously most of us have spent the better part of our careers there. So the FSC is full of talented, hardworking individuals, and I think we'd be really keen on just growing closer collaboration between XReg and regulators to develop the framework to, like we just mentioned, sort of stay in competition with countries like Dubai. I mean, even Abu Dhabi, you've got Bahrain, you've got the EU, the UK is up and coming. So I think really what we'd like is sort of closer collaboration, and that could involve ongoing dialogue, working groups, having an input regarding regulatory approaches to accommodate technological advancements in crypto. I mean, crypto, I think I could still say that crypto is still a nascent industry. So it's like always changing. If you're not keeping up with the news and you're not keeping up with the developments, I mean, things could change from one day to the next. So I think it's just one of those things, isn't it? Just collaboration. Really.
Absolutely.
One question I've got about is you've got the companies that come to you with crypto assets. As far as your dealings with the regulator, do they have more knowledge of dealing with companies that are applying for DLT licenses, such as exchanges? Do they have more knowledge in that area, or do they have an equal amount of knowledge in dealing with companies that want to create, say, their own token? Is there a strength in the Gibraltar regulations more towards exchanges rather than tokens, or is it all the same?
I think at the moment, I think the regulations are quite broad. I think it's definitely more in relation to the activities like the virtual asset services. I think there's a lot of experience there, but there is still a lot of experience with the creation and issuance of tokens as well. I mean, but it obviously depends on what token, because a lot of projects can have many different sort of nuances and details to them. So I think I would say that it could probably address both. I think there's definitely capacity and experience to address both matters. But I think virtual asset services is definitely something that is probably a little bit more familiar because it sort of mimics quite like investment services in a way, but obviously in the crypto industry. Whereas tokens, they can have, it depends on what token really.
Yeah. Okay. I just thought I'd throw that one in there as well. Sorry, I know I'm going off script.
No.
I'm actually really enjoying this, to be honest. So
that's good.
I don't mind at all.
Okay, I'll try and keep the questions down to a minimum that aren't on the script, because I know we've only got a short period of time. So back to Brogan.
Yeah, I'm just changing the topic now, going from Gibraltar to macro environment. So the first question in this section is, tokenization of real-world assets is a hot topic. What regulatory considerations need to be taken into account?
Gosh, tokenization is definitely a very hot topic right now, just because it could be like a really big development, unlocking like new types of economic arrangements. And the benefits can be great, like faster, cheaper transactions, right? Without having to go through intermediaries. But in terms of regulating it, and I've thought about this, regulating the process of tokenization and the tokens themselves, there's definitely a lot to consider because, well, firstly, from a legal perspective, one of the biggest challenges would be that rules and regulations governing tokenized assets, you got to think about it, they need to align with those of their real world counterparts, right? So you're tokenizing a real world asset, but that real world asset is also subject to specific laws. So you got to kind of like have alignment, which is much harder than what it sounds in the way that I'm summarizing it. There needs to be significant regulatory coordination to prevent unintended consequences like shadow activities or theft because of cybersecurity, or also like as a jurisdiction, you'd want to prevent regulatory arbitrage, right? So you don't want a person being able to use one set of favorable laws to avoid less favorable laws depending on what you're doing. So you got to look at regulating something like tokenization and tokenized assets extensively, and you've got to just coordinate with public authorities, stakeholders, and other jurisdictions. And also tokenizing assets in terms of scalability and how long it's going to take for it to be a thing. And like I said, it depends on the asset, because you've got stuff like securities that are more amenable to tokenization because they're subject to a standard legal framework that I think is you can sort of, it's a little bit transferable. But then if you're looking to tokenize complex assets subject to complex legal structures like real estate, for example, that's going to present a lot of challenges when you're looking to how to regulate that, because there are manual interventions, like you've got to go and register things in the properties registries, and there's intricate property rights as well that you need to sort of bridge that gap between, you know, the token itself and the trading and all of that, and the way you deal with that and the way you tokenize it and those laws that actually still exist. So it's definitely challenging.
I mean, it's a, for me anyway, it's a can of worms, and we've covered a couple of things on the channel in the past. One of which was NFTs was the first one to really try and do this. And NFTs were, you know, you would have a Rembrandt and you would issue 10,000 NFTs at 1 Ethereum each, and that would give you 1/10,000th of the Rembrandt. But how do you regulate or control who can buy that NFT on an open market? How do you stop somebody from Russia or China or maybe a banned jurisdiction from buying a piece of that artwork? So then it's a minefield. But then BlackRock, I think last week, have come out and created the first tokenized asset on Ethereum. I think it's $100 million fund they've got set up at the minute over there. So they're trying to find a way. But for me, it's like a needle in a haystack. So to regulate it is going to take, I imagine, a case-by-case basis. It's going to take years and years and years.
Absolutely.
For the regulator to understand and then find a way. I imagine you guys would be ones to find the way to put a package together to allow, an office block to be tokenized or a piece of art to be tokenized, and each element of that, like you say, they're different asset classes, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why it's going to take forever to make tokenization an actual thing. I mean, at least tokenization of every type of asset, definitely, because it's a mammoth task, and it's not an easy one. It's quite difficult, and it's quite dangerous, to be honest, as well, because as well, what people I think seem to forget is with the hype of tokenization, like, yes, I know intermediaries bring fees and unnecessary fees and unnecessary delays at times, but they also, with the hype, people are overlooking that intermediaries also bring transparency and trust, and they sort of okay, an automation process can streamline a lot of things, but let's say, for example, in a lending situation, the borrower will have more information on, let's say it's a non-financial entity looking for a loan, right? The borrower will have, for a project, the borrower will have a lot of insights into the quality of their project. And then the bank will be doing like robust screening and monitoring mechanisms of this project and whether or not they're putting their funds to intended use. And that kind of stuff, it mitigates risk. And tokenizing it, I mean, it's a challenge to sort of do that same thing with tokenization, where everything is sort of automated, if you know what I mean, and the intermediary is cut out.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's terrible. I mean, the thing is, there's a term rug pull in crypto, where somebody will sell a token or an NFT, and they'll hype it and they'll hype it and they'll hype it. They'll push the price up to 20, 30, 40 million dollars, and then the token issuer will just take all of the funds, empty the liquidity pool, and disappear with $25 million. And you're left with nothing. You're left with some tokens that don't have a value. And if you've got a Rembrandt, or you've got a McLaren F1, or you've got an asset worth $2 or $3 million, it can be stolen, it can disappear, it can burn down. So I don't know whether in certain industries we're going into these things so quickly, and we're not thinking about the practicalities of how to protect the investor from basically fraud, are we? That's what it boils down to.
Yeah, it definitely requires robust cybersecurity measures, for example. But even then, you've got absolute advanced hackers out there. So with every sort of mitigating provision that you put in place, you've got somebody looking to sort of try and break it just for fun. Some people do it just for fun, just to prove that they can.
Exactly.
And another thing is as well, having interoperability standards that need to be established to facilitate seamless exchanges, right, between different tokenized platforms. That's something as well that needs to be thought about. So cybersecurity and integrity of tokenized assets, that's definitely something that's paramount for confidence in the market and credibility. And I think that is definitely not an easy feat to regulate when we're talking about something like this, for the reasons that you've mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, I can see a future where you have a gated community. So although it's on the blockchain and it's transparent, it's not actually connected to Ethereum or a layer 2, whatever. And you just hold the tokens within that platform. And that would mitigate some level of risk, and you would have KYC involved. So if you wanted to become an accredited investor, you'd get access to it. I'd see a future where that's a better idea than just allowing somebody to tokenize a building, for example, because at least you have some level of control over who can buy and sell the tokens.
Yeah.
I think. Right, I'm going to stop again.
Okay, that's fine. So the next question is relative to AI. So AI has been, I think, one of the fastest growing industries in the last couple of years. It's one of the most interesting, or for me anyway, one of the most interesting ones. There's been like short films being released which are purely AI, which is, and even like within this year, I believe, or maybe end of last year, with AI generation in terms of video and audio. So it's going really fast. So I think one of the questions I want to ask is, how do you go about regulating that in relation to crypto? Because AI is, the AI and crypto can go hand in hand pretty easily with the many projects which have AI in. So how do you go about regulating that?
Yeah, I mean, I love this question just because AI is something as well that has me sort of in awe because of its potential benefits. But I find myself in a state of perpetual anxiety also because of how it can be developed and deployed, particularly if in the wrong hands. So it's a really difficult question, but an interesting one. How best do you think we can regulate AI? Because I guess, well, the first thing you do is think, well, should we regulate it? The answer is a resounding yes, by the way, 100%. The regulation of AI, I think, needs to focus on addressing significant risks, and you need to look at regulating and governing the development, deployment, and use of it, and regulate the individuals behind the systems more than the systems themselves, because then you've got some accountability there. You know what I mean? You need somebody to be accountable. And for me, when it comes to building a framework for something like AI, something like crypto, that is so complex, and let's not kid ourselves, I don't think anyone really is an expert in AI just yet, unless you're really techie savvy at the moment. When you're looking and considering how to regulate it, I think the best way at this moment in time is sort of looking at principles-based and risk-based approach. So principles-based is something that allows you to be flexible and adapt with like a nascent industry. And then having the regulators have a risk-based approach is great, because, and it's something that the EU is actually proposing to do under their Artificial Intelligence Act. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but basically they categorize AI applications by different risk levels. And then they basically apply more stringent rules to the higher risk AI applications. And they also have market surveillance and enforcement provisions, which I think is vital for compliance. So, for instance, in the EU, they have penalties for non-compliance. They include fines, and sometimes they just outright have prohibited some social scoring and subliminal manipulation AI systems. And I think what the EU is doing, for example, is in my opinion, at this moment in time, a good starting point for regulating AI. And I like the fact that they've done it through a proposed statutory framework, unlike other countries, for example. And I get why other countries haven't done it this way, but like the US and the UK, for example, they've introduced non-statutory framework guidance. And I think whilst that's better than nothing, I quite like the way that the EU is starting to regulate AI, which is basically, principles-based, risk-based, categorizing different risks associated with different types of AI, and then really regulating the deployment, development, and use of it, as opposed to trying to understand the systems themselves, because it's a very complicated thing. And then obviously, as you become more familiar with it, you can start including a little bit more comprehensive provisions and stuff like that. But at the moment, I think principle-based is a good way. And as well, regulatory sandboxes can serve as a good alternative. So you can test, it's like a testing grounds for new AI technologies. I think that's a good way as well, trying to do something.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I mean, you had Rishi, Elon Musk, you had China, America. They all had the first AI meeting, I think, last month or the month before, to talk about, like you say, the principles-based approach. And literally before we came on air, I think it's Fetch, AI, Singularity, and Ocean Protocol have all started to work on different frameworks to try and self-regulate themselves, because they know what's going to happen. And one of the big things they're trying to solve is this thing called hallucinations, which isn't for this conversation whatsoever, but AI hallucinates. And that's where it comes up with false positives, and it comes up with things which just don't exist. So I think you're right. I think we need to have like a 3, 4, 5-pronged approach to AI to try and stop, because once the cat's out of the bag, which it kind of is.
Yeah, it kind of is already.
Yeah, you want to try and make sure that when the cat gets out of the bag, the cat doesn't go around and eat everybody. And that's one of the worries that people have got. The world is going to end in 14 years if we keep developing AGI and all these things. But from a regulator's point of view, it must be absolutely impossible. Now, are you dealing with any, again, I'm not going to ask names of companies, are you dealing with anybody in AI at the moment? Is anybody looking at AI in Gibraltar, or are you looking more at the macro environment and what other countries are doing for AI?
Yeah, at the moment, definitely considering sort of the macro environment, and a lot of places I'm quite interested actually in consultations that are being issued in terms of how countries are looking to sort of regulate this. So we're kind of looking more at, from that end. It is interesting to see that I do think that clients soon enough will incorporate AI to help them obviously realize gains and trade in a certain way. For sure. I think that's inevitable. But at the moment, I haven't seen that just yet. But then again, I don't deal with every client that we have. So
no, I can imagine. No, I mean the number one scam on YouTube, especially at the minute, is AI trading bots, where they tell you that their AI trading bot will make you 10% a day, and then they disappear off with your money. So it's one of those buzzwords that, I don't trust any trader that uses AI, because they become a self-fulfilling failure, because AI can only copy what's already existed. So once you play against that, AI fails for a period of time. So AI trading and things like that, we always recommend people to stay well away from anything to do with AI and trading, because they're always scams, never regulated businesses. But again, as well as tokenization of assets and AI, it must be a really interesting time, but also a difficult time to be in regulation and the legal frameworks behind that, because everything is so new. As far as 200 years worth of law, and then suddenly somebody introduced you to tokenized assets and AI. I mean, it must be hard.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, it really is. It really. Although you know what, the good thing is people in this industry, particularly in the field of policy and legislative reform and legislative frameworks and drafting. I mean, they like a challenge. So I'm definitely grateful that we're never bored. But sometimes it's just sort of. Sometimes you got to take a step back, because otherwise it just keeps on going over and over your head. And I think it's good to recognize that you can't know everything, and it's going to be a long process. And as soon as you recognize that, and it's something that's very technical, very complicated, and ever evolving, I think that puts you in a good position to actually be pragmatic in the way that you approach it, and not try and get too bogged down on the granular, but rather on the bigger picture.
Yeah, no, I mean, whenever we review projects, I review projects as if they were real businesses, because you're in such a new industry. It's hard to, how do you predict the value of a meme coin? How do you predict the value of an oracle which has never existed? So I understand, from a legal point of view, I suppose that's probably the best course of action. How do you regulate this business if this business was in a different industry? Or, how can we use past regulation to enforce on crypto businesses and make it flexible for them to work? I mean, that makes the most sense from a layman's point of view. That makes the most sense
to an extent, though, because I've seen countries, for example, going back to the US as well, but responding to other consultations from other countries looking to build their own frameworks, wondering whether or not the best approach is to sort of apply existing legislation, maybe with minor sort of necessary modifications. And sometimes I do think that actually starting from a clean slate with something like this is maybe a better approach, because otherwise you find yourself entangling yourself in old concepts and trying to apply it to new concepts, and you just confuse yourself a little bit. So I'm actually more of an advocate for trying to sort of be a bit more bespoke about this.
Okay.
And trying to not be influenced by what I already know, even though it's difficult. And obviously, inevitably, those things do transfer over into bespoke regimes. So I guess bespoke is a little bit of it might be a little bit too far for me to use that word, but yeah, definitely trying to start from a clean slate, because looking at it, it's different at the end of the day.
No, listen, that's an interesting, that's an interesting way of looking at it. Everything we've ever seen has been a case of, this law applies to, this 1806 law now applies to crypto. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. There has to be a change along the way, because, you can't apply, what's that law that they try and apply to cryptos? The definition of a security that they try and apply.
That's 7.
Well, in the US, the Howey test.
The Howey test, that's the one. The Howey test.
Yeah,
And
everything is a security, basically.
Exactly. You got. If you went to buy toilet rolls before, the pandemic, that was technically a security because you knew they were going to go up in value. So, yeah, exactly. Right. What are we on to next?
We should just be on the individual side of recognizing if there's a significant crypto project which you liked. But I guess I've already answered the question while talking to you, so I'll just ask it now.
Let's go for it.
Do you have obviously, within your work, you involve yourself in crypto very heavily. So I assume on a personal side, you probably involve yourself as well. So the question is, do you have a singular crypto industry or project which you think's really, really good? Basically,
I actually don't have a specific favorite crypto industry or project. I am fascinated by projects that leverage blockchain technologies. So, for example, what did spark my interest back in the day was Ethereum, because it wasn't just a cryptocurrency, but it was a platform that you could build on for decentralized applications and smart contracts.
Yeah.
And that was interesting. But I do have to say, though, a little guilty pleasure of mine at this moment in time, because there's just such a massive hype at the moment. It fascinates me, the meme coins. So dog with hat. I don't know if you've seen this dog with hat.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's got me in stitches. Honestly, I'm not endorsing it or anything like that, but it's just something. It's just something that, for me, not only indicates sort of the speculative nature of crypto, but at the same time as well, it's amazing what a community, that if you build a community, how you can build basically returns and profit through something as silly as a meme of a dog wearing a hat.
Yeah.
And instead of saying with, spelling it in the normal way, with F, and you've got, the Gen Z have gone sort of taken it by
a lot of them are really, what hurts me is a lot of them are really pathetic. So I think the latest one I saw, and this is why I hate them the most, is they'll put low effort in the majority of their area, like if it's the website or anything like that, they'll just get an image. But it's the fact that it's solely dependent on what people think, and it'll just go off just because of Twitter. And it'll, I think Slurf was the latest one. I despise it. I hate the website. The website was one of the worst ones I think I've seen in a while. But it's gonna blow up.
It's gonna blow
fascinating.
up.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
Absolutely, like Pepe the frog. I don't know if you've seen it as well. It's on Revolut as well. It shot up. And it's just everyone's talking about meme coins, but they have no use case. They literally have no use case.
Not at all. I talked about them today, and meme coins, 90% of them will go to zero, but the ones that go above a $250 million market cap, the tax that they receive from people buying and selling those tokens, it gives them, $5, $6, $10 million worth of income. And then, believe it or not, they'll go out and build themselves a staking platform, an NFT platform, a trading platform. And I don't classify them as meme coins anymore. So they become a real business. I'm not going to divert again, but Floki is a little dog that wears a Viking hat. Okay.
Oh gosh, not another dog with a hat.
Yeah, a dog with a Viking hat, and it has a metaverse called Valhalla attached to it. Now, it's cute, it's nice, whatever. They're launching their own bank with debit card.
Wow.
Exactly. Really, So what you get is 90% of them will go to zero, but the ones that actually build, utility, I don't classify them as meme coins. I call them community tokens.
Yeah. That's a good phrase, actually. Yeah, I would agree with that.
But you can't get to community token without the silly memes and the silly GIFs and the silly hats and all of these things. And it's just, I despair. I have to make videos on them to give people advice. But I mean, I said, don't buy Pepe. It went up 2,800%. I said, don't buy Bonk. It went up 1,500%.
It went up so much.
Yeah, honestly. Exactly. But others,
I've read it not getting with.
Yeah, exactly. And in the bull run, they'll go even higher. We mentioned on the stream a few weeks ago, there's a coin called Trump, TRUMP. And I said, again, just because there are meme coins and people will support Donald Trump in the election, that coin will probably go up 500% in value between now and November. Not financial advice, of course. But it's,
thank you.
yeah,
Disclaimer.
but it seems to be, it's just a culture of degens, they're called, and they just ape into these, these meme coins. But they give me such a headache, and they give Brogan such a headache, and we.
I'm with you. Yeah. And honestly, it's beyond me how someone can look at that and think, yeah, you know what? Actually, I think that's going to be something. And it's like,
that's what I want. Yeah, absolutely.
On what basis? As a lawyer as well, just looking at it, I analyze things from a very sort of a different perspective. Every little detail, I need to know the rationale behind something, and there just is no rationale. It's just, it just gets me.
It's 2 paragraphs on a web page with a picture of a frog or a dog or a cat, or whatever else it might be. And you know
but look,
what?
Some people.
Exactly. Some people make millions of dollars out of them. Fair play to them. But we have a certain responsibility, and we keep that responsibility to make sure that people don't lose. We have a saying, we're not here to make you rich. We're here to try and stop you from becoming poor. And one of those things is to try and stop you from buying, all the meme coins. I mean, you're going to go and buy meme coins. We can't stop you. It's like gambling. We can't stop you going to a casino.
It is like gambling.
Yeah. We can't stop you. We can tell you it's not a good idea to do with your life savings. But if you've got £50 in your pocket and you want to go for a gamble, by all means, go and gamble. But you can't get away from them, unfortunately. And they do, believe it or not, they do breed adoption amongst retail. They do bring people, like Bonk, for example, is going to be given away on Revolut. They do bring people to crypto because they got silly hats. And then, of course, the token price, it's like you can buy, I don't know, 1 million PEPE you can buy for $5 or $10, whatever it is. So people think they're getting a lot for their money as well. So it's a whole, I despair sometimes at these things.
I'm with you.
Okay, so Ethereum was your big one, which is a sensible, solid answer. I'm with you on that one. Is there anything else?
We've got a last question. We do have a last question.
Go for it.
Which is, so if you had anything, so if there was a just an individual in front of you who was into crypto, maybe trading or just getting started, if you had to say something, maybe coming from a regulation point of view, it's probably actually a good background. Do you have any 3 tips to give someone if they're getting into crypto?
Yeah. So I'd say, look, carry out thorough research before you invest in any crypto asset. Yeah. Consider factors like the technology, the community support, whether or not there's regulatory compliance in play. Always diversify your crypto portfolio. Don't sort of raise your concentration risk and put all your eggs in one basket, because I mean you're just not mitigating risk that way. I mean, and by the way, this is just not financial advice. It's mitigating risk that way, and hopefully you can maximize potential returns. And stay informed about regulatory developments and industry trends. It's all about sort of just continuing reading these articles from, obviously reputable sources. And also, ultimately, at the end of the day, appreciate that if you want to get into crypto, it's a speculative market. So you need to be brave, and you need to understand that at the end of the day, you can try and study the markets as much as you want, but there is a lot of sort of gambling to it. So you need to be a little brave, be educated, and play around with money that you don't mind losing. And also, don't get greedy. Don't hodl for the sake of hodling. Hold on to life. Just have a target number in your head. And you'd like to cash out. When you do, then play around with your profits, and then you're not sort of as worried as you would be if you had your actual hard-earned money in there.
Exactly. And you see, this is what I liked about what you've just said is this is what I tell everybody in the community every day. Do your own research. If you can't explain to me what that token does in a lift in 30 seconds, then you shouldn't have bought the token. And take profits and diversify. They're the kind of the golden rules of crypto, if you know what I mean. Nobody went bust taking profits. If you're up 1,000%, sell half, sell a quarter, sell a third.
Absolutely.
Not financial advice, of course.
Of course not.
But take money out when you when you win. So listen, that's been perfect. And I've seen the time, and we've really overextended on the amount of time we've taken up of yours. So we're very grateful, but both of us very grateful for you to come on and give everybody watching your expertise. Is there anything you want to say finally before we let you go?
Well, I just want to say that I'm equally grateful that you let me come on and speak to you. It's been really fun, actually. Even though the time has run, I haven't even noticed. It felt like it feels like I've been here for 5 minutes. So and keep on doing what you're doing, and I'll definitely be tuning in because it's been really interesting.
And maybe hopefully in a few months' time, if anything transpires in your in XReg, or if anything happens in Gibraltar, maybe you come back and give us another talk when you're free next.
Absolutely. Would love to. I would love that. Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you, Samai. We are going to do our PEPE giveaway. Believe it, we're giving our PEPE giveaway now. But I think
after that conversation.
Yes, exactly. But we're not going to let you enter because you're a guest, and people might accuse us of favoritism. Yeah. So we won't enter you, but we might enter George.
Of course. Okay. Well, I've already got some PEPE, so.
Well, thank you very much for joining us.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Bye.
See you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I'll take my earpiece out. Right. So, giveaway time.
It's like I'm on a train and I'm putting rails down as I'm going. Like, spinning plates. Like it's like there's a lot of things, but we did it.
We did.
Now, we're that professional.
What I'm going to try and do, you know what? It was
very good. And I agree, because there's some parts which we were talking, I want to add stuff. Obviously, I understand we've run out of time. So one of the ones was like, we have my character on the streams is the Oracle, the best crypto trader.
Exactly.
However, I do say on my streams, I sometimes lose. You're never going to get someone who wins 100% of the time.
Absolutely.
So
not.
I would also agree with her statement of when she was saying, be prepared to lose the money you put in. Yeah. Absolutely. Like even me, the best trader ever, no question about it, can still lose. But yes. So the next part of this stream,
is the giveaway.
Yes, the camera's really laggy, and so, we're not even doing it. Okay, there we go. It's fixed.
What we're going to do, we've got 15 minutes left.
Yep.
So we don't have a lot of time. We did overrun. We've kept Samai way too long. We did ask her for half an hour, and we took 45 minutes. So I feel a little bit guilty for that. Now, what we're going to do, if you want to enter the giveaway, we're going to do 4 prizes of PEPE. I don't know how much the final amount is going to be because I need to go and after the stream. But we're going to do 4 prizes. To enter the prize, are you spinning all?
I'm just so excited.
If you haven't even started.
So excited.
What you need you to do is go to YouTube, go to Crypto Warehouse, enter your name, and you will be in the show. Now, there are already people who've commented. So, for example, Tariq is already in the show. Mary, Danny, Thomas are all in the show. Hidden Agendas will be in the show. So we've only really got about 6 or 7 people. So to enter, we're going to give you 10 minutes. Just go to YouTube. The reason you're going to go to YouTube is that this chat is unreadable. We can't read any of this chat because it's full of spam.
Yep.
So go to YouTube. We're not going to ask you to subscribe when you get there, but please do so we can get more people like Samai on the show. Go there, subscribe, type your name, just say hello, 123, whatever you want to type. When we've got about 20 people, we're going to do the prize draw. We've got 4 prizes, 20 people. What's that? 1 in 5 chance of winning, roughly. So make sure to head over. And if you want to know the address, just type in Crypto Warehouse
the biggest flex ever.
Into YouTube or into Google and you'll find us. Right then. So we'll give them time to do that. We'll see who is in chat. War Master C is here. I've not seen War Master C in forever. And you know why? Because the chat on Binance is getting worse. If I don't spend 30 minutes on the show just stopping all of the spam bots, I don't see anybody. I don't see Tariq. I don't see Andy. I don't see anybody chat. And it's impossible to use. So the only way we can do this is ask you to go to YouTube and type your name in.
Right. So, okay. So I've written all the names which we have so far down. And obviously, I know, did we say at the start of the stream about the questions and the double thing?
Yeah, we've got questions.
So we didn't actually ask the question.
No, because we ran out of time.
But I do like the questions.
The
So I think
questions
we
are
should
great.
still double entry the people.
We will double entry Tariq and
Yeah.
Danny.
So type in Danny, Tariq,
Danny and Tariq.
you two. You're going to get it.
Double entries. Double entry into the prize draw. Now, as I say, 4 prizes of PEPE. We weren't going to do a giveaway. And what happened was we got 3 or 4 tips on yesterday's morning show. I think it was at $15. So let's take a portion of that, buy some PEPE after the show, and we're going to give it away. Because I realised when we came to the show, one other thing that I need to be very clear about, this was not a sponsored stream. We haven't been paid by XReg. We haven't been paid by Samai. We've done this because this is the type of show we want to do once in a while as a bit of education, so you can understand from a legal or a regulation or an education point of view why we are so hell-bent on getting crypto accepted and regulation in place so crypto companies can operate and be audited, and that keeps you safe. There's no point in having the Wild West where you go and buy a coin and that coin disappears and with it goes your investment, or that exchange disappears. So regulation is just as important as adoption, and people like Samai are helping that adoption by having the companies that go to her company be regulated with someone like Gibraltar or Malta or Switzerland or wherever else it might be. So that's why it's important.
We've got George here. So as you said at the end of the call, we can't enter Samai, but
George can enter.
So I have entered George.
And George has
Hamza, as you said, finally found you. So
Hamza is here. Don't forget, press the subscribe button. Now, George, it's not possible for me to halve your entry. You can't have half an entry, unfortunately, can he?
No.
But you can have one.
Yeah.
And yes, and we're going to give away PEPE. So it's not dog with hat. I should have bought dog with hat. I think it's like $3.
I think I have some.
I think it's like $3.20 now.
I think I got dropped some. I could probably give it away.
No, you got cat with hat, not dog with hat.
No, I must have bought it then. I think I have some.
Okay. Also, the way that I'm going to give the prize out is you need to already have a Binance account. So you need to have a Binance ID, or you need to have a Pay ID on Binance. If you win, you need to contact us on Telegram. We have a Telegram group. You need to go in there and say, hello, it's George, here's my ID, and then I'll send it to you on Binance. And that will probably be either tonight or tomorrow morning.
Yeah, Adil, you are in. Don't worry. Actually, no, I should probably put it on the screen.
Yep, Adil's here.
Yeah, so unfortunately, I got the logo, which is actually just black and grey. So all the text looks like we're in monochrome mode, monochrome mode, or whatever you call it. So it's a bit...
Oh, it looks nice, though.
It's nice,
That's
but
classy.
some of the text is going black and on the grey. So
it's very, very classy.
But
now the thing is,
cat with hat. I don't know where they come from. Yeah, we did get dropped. We did get dropped cat with hat.
We did get cat with hat.
I haven't checked. I went on my phone, didn't actually check it.
And also, I know we have a lot of Solana boys and girls out there because of our videos about Solana. Yeah. When got listed on several exchanges, and when has pumped. So that free airdrop that you've all got was, I don't know what it's worth now, was worth over $300 as of today. On top of the dupe airdrops, which you're going to be getting over the next couple of weeks, you should all be very rich by the end of next year. Not financial advice.
We just start lagging for no reason. I alt tab, do the thing, and I move the thing.
I'll sit perfectly still. There we go. If I just sit like this and then not move, maybe we won't lag. Right, what are we going to give them? How long are we going to give them else to enter? How many people have got entered? 12, 15?
1, 2, 3, 5. I'll count entries because I've got some double entries. No, I won't actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13.
13 people, right.
13 people.
5 of you. No, how many got 13? No, if we get 3 more people, we will do the prize draw. So 3 more people. We have another one coming in.
Cyberpunk NG.
Cyberpunk NG. I've not seen you in ages. Right, 2 more. And that'll give us 16. That'll give you a 1 in 4 chance of winning.
So how many? So 2 more now. I've just added 1.
Yeah, 2 more. 2 more to get
16. 2 more. Got 2 more. After 2, I'm not hearing any. Well, I'm here. Please let me. No, you're not getting entered. Okay, 2 people. That's it.
You can cut the atmosphere in here. The tension. Sorry, not the atmosphere. You can cut the tension in here with a knife. Now, we don't want to talk about knives.
No, I don't know if I'll talk about knife. Okay, should we talk about it?
You talk about it in the vaguest possible. We had some bottles and we didn't have a bottle opener. So I decided to use this. And I accidentally took the entire top off.
Not just the little like metal top, the actual glass top of it.
Yeah.
So there's probably some microscopic. I'm probably drinking glass.
Yeah. Right then, we're not going to get any more. How long we got left? We have. Well, we've. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, a butter knife. Exactly. Use a butter knife to open a bottle.
Yeah, but it fits under the cap. Yeah. I'm not going to use a steak knife, Tariq, am I? Because I'm just trying to take the bottle.
Would have been better if you stabbed and pierced the top of it and poured it out than anything.
Anyway,
it would have also relieved the pressure, which would have
this stream
the top
was
off.
going so well, and it's now descended into Tariq.
As soon as the professional left the stream, we've now got these two morons on the screen.
We are now going to do the prize draw. We're not going to wait any longer.
I'll wait. No. I'm fighting back. I'll wait. I'm going to give it till 8:03.
Okay.
So you've got a minute and a bit.
I am in chat.
A minute and a bit.
So if you're watching on Binance and you want to win PEPE for free, then you need to go to our YouTube channel, which is Crypto Warehouse, and all you need to do is type hello into chat, and you will be entered into the prize draw, which is starting in 3 minutes. You have 3 minutes. Do you want to bring up our YouTube page while we're here?
I can't
Let's
actually
do some shameless...
So now instead of having 9 things to do, well, this guy's 0, I actually now have a couple of things. So simply, I'm going to do Crypto Warehouse on Google, if I could spell. Different keyboards. Keyboards like weird or something. I don't know. Keyboards sticking together. So Crypto Warehouse, just scroll down YouTube. Here we are. So come to this area. You might notice this little live button here with this very nice thumbnail.
Lovely thumbnail.
And you click it. Here we are. There's again us. Yeah, hello to everyone who's coming on YouTube. Come comment down. Also, well, maybe take a step back, seeing as you're on the front page. You might as well subscribe to us. Ring the bell as well. And then come back and then comment your name.
Exactly. I don't think I asked a single question during that AMA. I think you asked all the questions.
Asked all the questions. I mean, because I didn't really, because there's some questions I wanted to do a follow up on. You were like, and then like I had to move on. But no, it was good. It was very good.
Right. Okay.
Enjoyable.
So,
be like the in the maze of blindfold on whatever it was.
That was the
Beautiful.
best line. That was a cracking line. That was an absolute corker of a line.
Boom. We've got one more person.
Good. Who's that?
Let me go back to it. Hold on. Mohammed Usman. I've got you, don't worry. Globe Travel, you've already been added to the list. Me.
Right, I think we should just do it then. We don't want to be here all day. We've got to go and get...
He snuck himself in. Who? Or herself in. That person who's just joined. Hold on, I'm alt-tab. I can't read them.
4 winners.
Just do the first part. Yeah.
I don't know how much you're going to win.
Okay, that is it.
Buy the PEPE.
That is it. If you'll just join, and it is also 8:03, so the deadline all the deadlines are closed.
Have we got any sound effects?
We've got the website sound effects.
Okay, let's go. Come on, four prizes.
I've already started it. There's no sound for some reason.
We don't need sound. 4 prizes.
Cyberpunk Mary, I think the highest grossing winner of the Crypto Warehouse giveaways ever. Cyberpunk Mary.
This is a fix.
Congratulations once more. You have won. Even though there's people here who entered twice, they've entered twice, you still won over everyone else.
I think I've already got your ID, Cyberpunk Mary.
Probably. You probably have it favorited on your phone.
It's
your home screen.
You are the #1 payer on Binance from my account, so I've probably already got you. But if Danny comes out next, this is a rig.
Look at this. Okay, so this is the old text. I was going to add the text right. Who's the first name on the winners? Cyberpunk Mary. Ridiculous.
This is such a fix.
All right,
congratulations,
let me remove these names.
This is all random. We use a third-party website.
Well, I swear, I don't even know how we can prove it, to be fair, but it is a third-party website. It is not ours. It's real names. You can go look it up on Google.
How is Cyberpunk
all
Mary
the time
winning again?
Remove. There we go. I removed her. She can't win again. Don't worry.
She'll still win.
Yeah, it'll insert herself as it's going to. She'll come back in.
Right. Let's hope. If George wins next, it's certainly a fix.
Yeah, how many? Could win?
4.
4. Okay.
Just need 4.
Forgot how many.
4, and then we can. I can do the way. We'll go home.
Hidden Agendas has won.
You're joking.
No way. You know what? To be fair, I swear I've seen them in the chat so much, and they never win. So congratulations, Hidden Agendas.
Well done, Hidden Agendas. Do you know what? They have been in every single daily stream for months.
Congratulations, Hidden Agendas.
Well done. Congratulations.
I wonder if he's here to say anything. I don't know.
I bet he's fallen off his chair.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I bet he's fallen off his chair.
Next. So, Mary, Hidden Agendas. 2 more to go.
Mustafa Toral. I don't know if that was one of the...
Was that the one who just snuck in at the end?
I don't think so. I'm scrolling up to see the name. Oh, you were here anyway. Congratulations. Okay. I'm going to write your name down now.
Well done. Remember, all you've got to do to claim your prize is go to Telegram. I think on the Binance stream, we've got our Telegram details. Go there, just type your name in, type your Pay ID or your Binance ID into chat, and I'll pick it up when I get back to the house.
All right.
Last one.
The last one now.
Last one. And then we are going to call this stream quits because we have to go and do things. Come on. Give me a good winner. You're all good winners, but give me a good one.
The person who snuck themselves in last microsecond. Let me go back to the name. I've only wrote the first part of the name down.
Okay.
It was a long name, but congratulations to you. So you have to go to the Telegram. Where's the text? There it is.
Go to Telegram, put your name and your ID in, and I will pay you, as I said, either tonight or tomorrow morning, depending how late it is when I get home.
Move. There we go. Put the big cameras on. Move the text.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you to everybody that sent the prize draw. Thank you for everybody that came to watch the AMA with Samai from XReg. Greatly appreciated. And give me some feedback in YouTube chat. Give me some feedback on Telegram. Let Brogan know. Let me know if you like these kinds of AMAs, whether you'd like to see different people's opinions on crypto, and we'll try and get a few more people on. We'll start to do a few more collabs over the next couple of months and try and build up the collabs, because having other people's opinions helps you as well as it helps us, because it gives us another way of looking at things.
And they're fun as well. And you guys, obviously, I know this time we did talk a lot about interesting things. Obviously, we couldn't ask the questions from the user Q&A. But these are always very intense. I always love these. So yeah, we should definitely try and do more in the future. Yeah. Obviously, the 2 out of 2 times compiled with a giveaway. So yeah, it's great for you guys as well.
Yeah, and also maybe next Wednesday we are going to have one of the 2. We have 2 projects that want to do giveaways. We're not going to mention their names yet, but we have them. So potentially next Wednesday, we're also going to have another giveaway on the show, but I can't confirm that yet.
Yeah, but so for those who didn't win, you have another chance.
Next week.
Also, again, congratulations to everyone who did win.
Yeah, and Tariq's made so much money out of the Litecoin pump that I think he should start sponsoring our shows.
You should give some. You know what? Guys, we're not going to be. We're not going to be strangers to any donations.
No, especially from Tariq. Do you know? I told you about Litecoin, didn't I?
Yeah.
Back in a horse with 3 legs, and then suddenly you see the horse with 3 legs just go past you because it's on the back of a truck, and I'm like, how has he done that? How has Tariq pulled this out of the bag? So well done, Tariq. Your faith in Litecoin would have broken most men, but you have stayed fast. Maybe it ends up being a $500 or $600 token, and you've made a fortune. And hats off to you for doing that. Yeah,
I've got the winners recorded. Don't worry.
Perfect.
I have brought up the Telegram. Because one of the winners is asking. So is it in the description? It is in the YouTube.
It's in the description on YouTube and on Binance, yes.
Yeah, so you can do t.me/crypto warehouse news. That is us as well. If not, you can go to the description. I could probably maybe try and put it in the chat.
Yeah. I am going to drop a thank you box now on Binance as well. So I'm going to drop a little 10-minute comment to win box on there. And actually, no, I'll do it for 5 minutes because Florence isn't happy when I drop it for 10 minutes because she's got things to do, and I don't blame her, to be honest.
I'll post the link to our Telegram in the chat now, so you can go ask there, and send your code. There it is.
Yep. Right, I've dropped the thank you box for 5 minutes on Binance. So if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to go and claim the box on Binance as well.
She said, I will, believe me, I will donate big. That sounds good.
I want at least I've bought you with the SHIB that I've given away on this channel in the last 9 months, Tariq. Because I must have given you enough money to buy one of those Tesla trucks by now.
That's true.
Right, I'm done. Thank you, everybody. I'm back in the morning at 11 o'clock. Tomorrow is Thursday. I'll be back at 11 on Thursday. I'm going to try and do Thursday and Friday this week. Friday is Good Friday, and I am Christian, so maybe or maybe not I will do the show on Friday. But if not, we'll probably try and do a show on Saturday as well. So I'll definitely be back in the morning. Brogan's going to do his outro now, as he usually does. Try and keep it to 30 seconds because we do have to go and get food.
I see. Okay, so thank you to each and every one of you. I have to prepare myself to say my track. It's very long.
It's like he's won an Oscar. It's like he's won a Golden Globe.
Thank you so much for watching, spending an hour and 20 minutes of your time with us. Hopefully, it was an entertaining and/or educational stream today. Yeah, the things are floating. Oh, no.
That's your award.
That was me doing my big thing. my empty award, which looks full. You know what? I'm going to put that.
It's a glass half full.
Yeah, it's half full. You can't see it there. So thank you. I'm waffling now. I'm running. It's like Wile E. Coyote as he's running in the air, and he hasn't quite realised that there's no ground below him. So thank you all so much for watching. Hopefully it was enjoyable. Thank you for all you who commented. Congratulations to the winners. For those who didn't win, there'll always be a next time, don't worry. Unless we both perish. I didn't want to say that, the bad word.
I don't know where he's going with this.
Unless we disappear off the face of the earth tomorrow, there will always be a next time. So thank you so much for all of you supporting us, the oldies and the newies, whatever you say. Thank you to each and every one of you. Subscribe, follow. I'll see you Wednesday.
Maybe Saturday. Today's Wednesday. He'll see you on Saturday.
See you Saturday.
Thank you, everybody. Take care.
Goodbye.